Hi everyone, it's Christina from the DIYmommy.com, and today I want to share with you some ideas on how to display family heirlooms in your home so that you can bring some beauty and some history into your space. Today I'm so excited to be partnering with the Goldfinch movie, who is sponsoring this video today. The movie comes out September 13th. It's based on a Pulitzer Prize winning novel that I'm actually currently reading. I'm about a third of the way through, and the story follows young Theo Decker, and his mom is tragically killed in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City in a tragic bombing incident. So his mom's death sends him on this journey of grief, of finding himself, of reinventing himself, and he even finds love. And through the whole story, he holds on to this painting that he actually finds in the museum, and it's a beautiful little painting of a bird chained to its perch, and it reminds him of his mom and kind of holds him together as he moves through this journey. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm a huge fan of dramas. I love watching dramas, and I love watching visually beautiful films that remind me of art. And this film is going to be, I think, a combination of both of those, so I'm really excited to see it. It also features Nicole Kidman, who I always love as an actress. I think she's brilliant. Plus the film features some scenes in an antique store, plus it features some antiques, and of course you guys know that I'm all about that. So let me know if you're planning to see the Goldfinch too. I would love to hear it down in the comments below and what you're excited most about the film. So I was totally inspired by the beauty of this film, the importance of antiques, of heirlooms in this film, to create some interesting and unique art pieces in my own home with some family heirlooms. So let's get started. The first DIY I want to show you is how to display antique photos inside of vintage jars. So I have some old photos here from my mom's side, my mom when she was a baby, along with my grandma's family, and I have some vintage jars along with a mason jar. So the easiest way to do this is to take a mason jar like this with a wider mouth and gently roll up a photo and place it inside to display. We are going to embellish these at the end, but this is the easiest way to do this if you have a larger mouth jar like this. Make sure to use replicas of your photos in case you can't take them out of the jars. You'll see later that we're going to have to roll them up really tight. For the next one, I'm taking this milk jug, this vintage milk jug. I'm putting some reindeer moss inside of it along with a faux pearl necklace, and then I'm rolling up another family photo. This time I'm rolling it up a little bit tighter and placing it inside. So you can place some mementos inside the jar along with a photo and kind of make it a little bit more interesting. I'm using a dowel to kind of help my photo expand inside the jar, and you can see that the texture the moss brings gives that one a little bit of an interesting look. And finally, another one you can do is I'm taking some buttons, I'm putting them inside this jar here. And then I'm also taking some scraps of lace. So any sort of heirloom thing or something that adds texture to your vintage bottles is really fun to add. And then this photo of my mom when she was a baby, I have to roll this one up really tight, and I'm placing it inside the jar like this. You also might have to use a pencil or a smaller dowel to gently open up the photo inside if you're putting it inside a smaller mouth jar like I'm doing here. For this one, I wanted to open up the photo a little bit better inside the jar, so I'm taking some rocks and I'm placing them in the middle of the photo to help keep it in place and open up that jar. Now I have some velvet ribbon along with some lace ribbon, and I'm tying this around the mouths of my jars to make them look a little bit antique and vintage and almost shabby chic. And then I'm also adding a brooch to one just with some hot glue on the mouth of the jar. And here is how my antique photos and antique bottles turned out. I really love these, and they're such a fun way to display these photos from my family. This DIY makes me think of the antique shop that Theo finds through the tragedy in the Goldfinch film. The next DIY I want to show you is how to make a shadow box featuring everyday vintage items. In this case, I'm going to feature some gold spoons. So I found this inexpensive shadow box, and I'm taking some chalk style paint and painting it white. You could paint it whatever color you like. You could stain a shadow box. You can find them at most craft stores and even some dollar stores as well. I'm also painting the inside of the box, and then I found this old recipe online, and I just made sure to resize it to the inside of my shadow box. You could use a recipe in your family as well, have a grandma or aunt write it out and put it inside. Then I'm taking the tape off of the shadow box that I used before I painted it, taking it off, giving my shadow box a sanding, and then wiping it clean. Next, put some hot glue on the base of your shadow box and put the recipe you created inside. I love the idea of displaying just really simple everyday items like these golden spoons. So I'm just putting a little dab of hot glue on the back of them and putting them inside of the shadow box. There's also a gold themed art piece in the movie The Goldfinch, and it's Theo's special tie to his mother throughout the journey. So if you watch the show, make sure to look out for that theme throughout the movie. And here is how my little shadow box turned out. I think this one turned out so sweet. Love the recipe with the vintage type in the back and the spoons displaying in front. Next, I'm going to show you how to make some really simple DIY vintage frame jewelry art. I'm just taking this inexpensive photo frame and I'm taking the mat inside, using it as a stencil to cut out some cotton velvet. I just had this cotton velvet on hand and I think it looks so luxurious. This velvet and the brooches I'm going to use here makes me think of the decadent barber home that Theo in the movie finds refuge in, and it's filled with glamorous decor like this. Next, you're going to take the back of the photo frame and just put some hot glue on it. Put that piece of velvet you cut out on top of the hot glue and smooth it out with your hands. So I had a few of these brooches on hand, and then I had this really special one from my husband's grandma that I wanted to be the center of this arrangement. And you can kind of just arrange the brooches in however you want. You could arrange them into a flower or a tree or some kind of shape. I think this is a tree. It could be a flower or two. And then just take some hot glue and place it on the back of the brooches and just pop them into place. I like using hot glue for things like this because it's quite easy to remove. Usually you can just peel off of the items if you need to. Then pop your velvet lined backing into your frame, and that is how easy this DIY is to make. I think it looks so pretty on my mantle and it reminds me of my husband's grandma. Finally, I want to show you how to make some doily wrapped books. So I just found these books secondhand, and I'm just covering them with some white chalk style paint. I know some of the books are already white, but I wanted to hide the spines of these books and make them look really consistent. I actually liked the gold color of this book, so I put some painter's tape over that part and then painted the spine white. After the chalk paint is dry, just take some Mod Podge and put it all over the covers of the book, and then you can take some vintage doilies or some doilies that are special to you, maybe something that your grandma made or your aunt made, and you can just put them into the Mod Podge like I'm doing here. Even if they're a little bit damaged like this one doily is here, you can usually stretch them and squish them into the Mod Podge enough that they're going to stay even if they're a little bit damaged. Creating something new out of something old is something that I love to do, and that's also a theme in The Goldfinch, as the main character Theo works and finds meaning in the antique store. So you might have to just kind of pull on the doilies and kind of stretch them out a little bit to make them work, and then once that's finished, you can kind of pat it down in place and then put another layer of Mod Podge with a foam brush over top of the doily. I love this tone-on-tone look with the white doily on top of the white book, but you could also experiment with having contrasting colors or something a little bit different if you wanted to paint your book a different color or use different colored doilies. I do like how this ended up looking on the gold book as well. As you can see, the Mod Podge is going to go on white, but then it's going to dry clear and give the book a really unique and beautiful effect. Thank you guys so much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in those comments below which of these DIYs was your favorite, or if you have some other ideas on how to display family keepsakes in your home. I'd also love to know if you're planning on seeing The Goldfinch in theaters September 13th. Let me know down in those comments below as well. I'm really excited to see it. It looks like such a moving film. Gotta love those dramas. Gotta love all the beautiful visuals that I think we're gonna see in this film. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more DIY and decor ideas. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye.